Okay, how you doing everybody? It's Rain from the Vintage Singer Sewing Machine blog, and today I'm going to show you how to fix a common problem that happens when you try to turn your machine into bobbin winding mode, but the needle bar continues to go up and down when it's not supposed to. So here I've got three very different models. We got a 2012, Singer 403, and a 306, but as different as these machines all are, they all have one thing in common, which is a balance wheel or hand wheel, and in the center there's this silver knob which they call the stop motion screw. This entire thing is called the stop motion screw, but if you say stop motion wheel, people will know what you're talking about. And then you'll notice that within the stop motion screw there's a small set screw that holds it into one of two positions. Now all these models have this same setup even though they look different. Alright, so here's how it's supposed to work. Basically, if I hit the gas, you'll see both the balance wheel and the stop motion wheel turn at the same rate. They're pretty much, they're moving at the same speed. When you go into bobbin winding mode by cranking this to the left, now what's supposed to happen is just the balance wheel turns. And you'll notice that the needle bar is not going up and down. That's what's supposed to happen. The stop motion wheel is what attaches the balance wheel to the shaft. So when I tighten this and they turn together, that's when the needle bar goes up and down. But what will happen on some of these problematic machines is that even though I crank this knob, which I'm simulating here, let's say that I turn this into bobbin winding mode and then hit the gas, these two will still turn together and the needle bar will still go up and down. That's because these two things are gunked together inside. I'm going to show you how to fix that. Now, before I get to that, I'm going to explain to you and I'm going to demonstrate to you how exactly the mechanism in here works. I have a friend who sews a lot and she told me, listen, people who sew a lot don't care what the problem is. They don't care how the machine works. They just want the problem fixed. So if you're one of those people, you can go ahead and skip the rest of this video. And you can just skip ahead to part 2, but for other people who are like me who enjoy knowing how the inside of the machine works and want to understand it a little bit better, stick with me and I'll show you how all this works. I'm going to go into details about how to take this all apart in the next video, but for now I just want to show you the mechanisms on the inside. So once we remove this stop motion wheel all the way, the first thing you see is that inside you've got this part with the three bosses. It's called a stop motion clamp washer is the technical name for it. Now this washer only goes on one of two ways. In other words, it could go on this way. If I turn it over and put it on the other way, it's not going to line up with that set screw inside the stop motion wheel. I'm going to show you that in an X-ray video in a second. Okay, so right now the stop motion wheel is tightened all the way. It's in regular mode, but as I crank it to the left, that's bobbin winding mode. That's back to regular. That's bobbin. That's regular. See what's going on inside? The screw is traveling between those two bosses. So if that washer was flipped 180 degrees, the bosses would be in the wrong position and you wouldn't be able to get the right range of motion. That's why you've got to make sure that washer is in the correct position. Okay, so once we take this washer off, now you see what we've got here. We've got the shaft, which is this part, and then you've got the wheel. You know what, I'll pop the wheel off so we can see. Okay, so this part is the shaft. You can see by these two notches. If I turn the shaft, that's what turns the needle bar. Or, I'm sorry, that's what makes the needle bar move up and down. The balance wheel alone will not do that. Because the way that this works is it's the motor that turns the balance wheel. The motor does not turn the shaft. It only turns the balance wheel. Here, let me pull back and I'm going to demonstrate. Now, please don't do this at home. There's no reason for you to run the motor without the stop motion wheel in place, because the wheel could fly off and you could chip it or, I don't know, hurt your dog or something. Anyway, if I hit the gas, you see that the wheel turns, but you can see the shaft is not turning, right? You can see that? So now when I put the stop motion washer back into place, that locks into the shaft with these two little tabs here. And then when we reattach the stop motion wheel, now that's sandwiched everything to get, well, not sandwich is not accurate. Now that's basically clamping everything together. This wheel is clamping down on the washer, which is clamping down on the shaft, and it's touching the balance wheel, so that now all of these things work together, and when I hit the gas, now everything turns together. So in other words, when you loosen the stop motion wheel into bobbin winding mode, all it's doing is releasing that pressure, releasing that tension, and allowing the balance wheel to spin without affecting the shaft, unless the balance wheel and the shaft are stuck together by gunk. And if there's a lot of gunk in there, that gunk is enough to create that friction, to keep everything kind of stuck together, so that when I hit the gas, even though it's in bobbin winding mode, everything turns over. So in the next video, I'll show you how to fix that.